I'll ask you to continue. So, all right.
Oh, got it.
Got it. Okay. So today on Some More Good News, we have Dr. Paula Connolly, who is a professor of English in the Department of English here at UNC Charlotte. And Dr. Connolly is a finalist this year for the Bank of America, want to get it right, Award for Teaching Excellence. Yay. Yep. And we're all very much hoping you win because you should win. So.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you.
It's true. So I wonder if you could start by talking a little bit about what the Bank of America Award means to you, being a finalist like this.
It's interesting. I've been to the award, of course, a number of times over the years, and always enjoyed being there and enjoyed supporting my colleagues. Different times when English department has been a finalist or recipient of the award. But this is the first time I actually went and looked up the origins of the award, and I actually found this fascinating. It started in 1968, and it started because the staff at the student literary magazine came up with the idea of having an awards for faculty for teaching. And so it came with that student agency, which I really love. And they brought it to the vice chancellors, who were Ms. Bonnie Cohn, and anything associated with her, of course, is fabulous. And then Vice Chancellor McInerney. And they liked the idea, and they brought it to the chancellor, who was Chancellor Kovard at the time. And he liked the idea, and he went out into the community to try to secure funding for it. And I always thought for some reason it was the other way and came down. But I love that story that it came from students, and that everybody up the ladder listened to them and decided this was important to them, and therefore it's important to mark the university this way. And I love that story. And then I found out, and I was looking on the page, that the first person who received it was Seth Ellis. I didn't know Seth Ellis, but he was an English professor, and he was the first person to receive it. And when I looked up and down, it's been Anita received it, and Boyd, Meg, Jim, Sam Watson, and then people I didn't know, which are Ann Newman. We have an award for her in the English department. And Roy Moose, whose name I heard once in a while from sort of the old guard, but I never knew him either. And I thought there is a tremendous sort of strength in the representation of the English department, not in competition with others, but in the sense that we have been historically and continue to be focused on teaching and the way our research enlivens our teaching. It was the coolest story for me to actually stop for a minute and find that out. So I like that.
No, I love that story. I didn't know that story. What year?
I didn't either.
What year was the award?
1968 was the first one.
Okay. Wow, that's a great story. And it's true. Yeah. If you go into our department, we have a wall with awards that faculty have won, and the entire wall is full, and many of them are Bank of America awards. So yeah.
And we have nearly that many people who have been finalists.
Yeah.
So by the time you add up the people who received it and the finalists, it just shows a strong department. I suspect somebody can be a good teacher if they have to fight against their department for it to do that, but it's a lot easier when you don't. And I think those numbers show that we don't, that we get support and from each other and everything else. So that's really cool.
That's true. I love the way you talk about how it originated with students, because it's still really driven by student nominations. Like faculty can be nominated by colleagues, but so many of the nominations are students, which means, I know you're being humble, but this means also that something really special is happening in your classes. And I think that's wonderful that students are seeing that and noting it. And so I wonder if you might want to talk a little bit about what you're doing in your classes. So I have a question for you. So you can talk about it whatever you want. You can ignore me. But I'm wondering, what's your favorite text to teach or topic to teach?
I think what I like doing, a couple of different things. One, I like when I'm doing a Disney film and the students come in and think they're not going to learn anything because they already know the film. And then we do it and there's so much more, and students will come up later or they'll email me, I also found this. And you can see them getting excited about something they thought they already understood. And I learn from them because they'll bring different things to it, which is cool. I think sometimes I like teaching what seems ostensibly easy, and we find out it's really layered. Picture books are like that, because I'll tell them a story about how when I was in grad school, I was teaching a children's lit class, and I'm on the bus between UMass and home. And I looked up as I was leaving, there was this person who was looking at me like, you poor thing. And I had a UMass t-shirt on, and I spent like the half hour reading a picture book because I was teaching it the next day. And he probably thought, great, this is what we're spending our money on, UMass, and they can't have somebody who can read a picture book in less than a half hour. But I teach the students and talk to the students about how we look at visuals and how all the sort of semiotics of that come together. Mm-hmm. And that's something that we can look at and not pay attention to. So I like paying attention to the things we typically miss. If that makes sense.
No, I think it makes really good sense. Is there a picture book or a Disney film that you think more than others has caused students to respond in that way, to say, oh my gosh, I had no idea?
Some are also that they're surprised at current topics in picture books. So I suppose now, because I'm working on my multiculturalism class, I suppose now that would come to mind. I did, past couple of semesters, I've done Jacob's New Dress, which is self-explanatory by title. It's been in and out of a whole bunch of school systems. And last semester, we talked about the visuals and, all that stuff. And I had students who firmly believed having that book was a tremendous boon for students. And I had a couple of students who were adamantly against it being in the classroom. And that debate, which strangely enough didn't feel like friction, it just felt like a debate. But as a teacher, you're always like, okay, I have to make sure we have a debate and it doesn't go too far. And afterward, one of the students walked back with me to my office, and she said, thank you. It was so good being able to, and these were very strongly held views. This wasn't just, oh, okay, you're right. They're very strongly held views. And then the next day, the person who is on the other side came up to me and said the same thing. Wow. And I thought, that moment when you can have something that's controversial and the place in the classroom is both safe and challenging. So I like that book for that. I mean, aesthetically, it's not a beautiful book. There are better illustrations in other books, but I like it for moments like that can happen.
I love that. You gave me goosebumps when you were talking about this, because like a lot of us will say over and over again how important we think teaching like English studies is, and having students study it. And what we're doing is trying to cultivate a greater sense of empathy. Yeah. And that's what you just described, is students coming to that by way, like you were facilitating that learning of an empathetic dialogue, I think, or at least the ability to dialogue with each other instead of yell at each other.
And what was great is the next class I came in, you know how we're always, 5 minutes early for class, I came in and the two students were talking to each other. Yeah. And it wasn't negative. They were just talking about something else. I can't remember, but kind of like, oh yeah, did you have this professor? I had that professor. Yeah. And I thought that's wonderful. So that moment turned into a place where they could each express themselves. Yeah. But it didn't provide a fissure between them. Nice. So moments like that and books that do that, I love.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a different question.
All right. So you should have prepped me with these questions.
Well, I didn't on purpose, because I want you to have to answer spontaneously. So, okay, different question. What do you want to share a moment in the classroom that was funny, like strikes you either at the time or in retrospect or both as funny, or like one of your weirdest teaching moments, or
all right, this is funny, and it's odd that I'm telling you because I tell the students don't tell anybody when I do this.
It's going to be
so now I'm coming out in the Disney class, because it's got 120 people out there.
Right.
In the Disney class, at one point, I come in and I'm standing in front of the class and I have drawn eyeballs that are about this big, maybe about, I'm looking at myself here, maybe about this big, and I put them up. And the point is, if you look proportionally at Disney heroine faces,
yes,
their eyes proportionally are that big in their face. But when you look at it up on the screen, it doesn't, you know, you can tell them about the proportions and it doesn't quite connect. So I'll put those up. And that's my only, I think that's my only moment of intentional funny. There are plenty of other moments, but that's a moment of intentional funny.
Well, the next time I come to your office, will you wear your eyeballs?
I've got them in my file. I take them out so I don't have to make them every semester. So yeah, I got them.
Okay, I'll be over soon. Okay, well, I mentioned that this Bank of America Award is largely driven by student nominations. And the Bank of America Award for Teaching Excellence is, it awards someone for their undergraduate teaching, but you're also very well respected, highly regarded by your graduate students, and you've been a mentor for the Children's Literature
thank you.
Graduate Organization.
Yeah.
And so I have something I'm going to read to you from one of your graduate students.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know about this.
I know you didn't, because I didn't tell you. Okay, so this is from Samantha Holt, one of your grads. Dr. Connolly is compassionate, dedicated, and one of the most hardworking people I've ever known. Her own research and work in academia are insightful and progressive and indicative of her care for others through the way she seeks to understand how we present issues of humanity to children. She serves her community, to the university, and her students with an other-directedness that speaks volumes of the person she is and the people she's helping her students become. Dr. Connolly is not simply one of the best professors I've ever had, but one of the most incredible people I've had the privilege of knowing. She's a personal hero and role model to me, and it's an honor and privilege to know her and to learn from her. I have another surprise for you.
Yes.
So I actually have two more of your grads who are going to join us on this call.
Oh my God. That's not fair, because they know I'm a crier.
I know, and I knew it too, but you're just going to have to live with it, I think. One of the things about this Bank of America Award this year in particular is that you're going to be celebrated, but it's going to be a virtual celebration instead of in person. And I think we just needed to up our game a little bit. So we're going to add a bit more to this. So you know who these people are. I
was just saying, hi guys. I was just saying this is so not fair because you two know I'm a crier. So I feel like this is one of those risks. How long does it take before she just puddles up and cries? It's so good seeing you.
So we have Shannon Murphy and
great
Anderson. So they wanted to say a few things to you too.
Danny, do you want to start?
Yeah, I can start. I just want to say congratulations, Dr. Connolly, and thank you so much for all that you've done for me throughout the years. It was your class I took my senior year that made me want to pursue children's literature in grad school. The class on genre in children's literature just really changed my view on children's lit and my life, honestly.
Thank you, Danny. I've been trying to sort of open up more about horror ever since you were talking me into it during that class.
And Dr. Connolly knows this, but she has been a part of every single step of my UNC Charlotte process, whether she was my teaching mentor when I was teaching my class, she was the advisor for CLGO, which I was the president of, she was my thesis advisor, she was my professor. She was everything. And she was there every single step of the way for all the good times and all the bad times. And my experience at UNC Charlotte would not have been as positive without Dr. Connolly. Her class was the first one that I ever sat in, even though she wasn't there for the first class. I was so excited, and I knew that she was going to be a big part of my life. She was there through it all. My first conference that was out of state in Washington, D.C., she was there for that. So I want to thank you, Dr. Connolly, for being an incredible part of my life, and just being there for me every step of the way. So congratulations. It's well earned. I'm not surprised. We obviously, for CLGO and EGSA, we gave Dr. Connolly last year for a conference the Outstanding Teacher Award. So obviously I'm not surprised that the greater university is seeing that as well.
Thank you so much. I still think about it. I was thinking about you the other day, Danny. I missed that class. It was wonderful with everybody who was in there. It was fabulous. And Shannon, the class you're talking about, that was when I ended up in the hospital for the heart surgery. And I came back after a week or so. And you guys were so good to me, because when I first went in, I was sort of limping in there, and everybody was wonderful. But I love you guys so much. I really do. I miss you. It's so good seeing your faces. It really is. And it's an honor too. I hope you know this. For professors or teachers to be able to work with students and to get a chance to know them and to learn so much from them. I mean, Danny didn't fully pull me over to the horror thing, but I loved those conversations. Do you know what I mean? The idea that we don't all have to have the same views and we get together on things. So I've so appreciated knowing you both. I really, really have. Okay, see, I don't know if you can tell those little teardrops. Just you got there.
Well, Paula, we're all rooting for you and hope you win this award. And
thank you.
Whether you do or not, we think you're an excellent teacher.
That's sweet. Thank you so much.
Thanks, you guys, for being part of this.
Thank you so much.
I want you to know they responded in like 5 minutes to my email. Like, yes, we want to do this.
I so appreciate it. I really do. I love it. I absolutely love it. So, Jen, I adore you. You can now leave, and I'm just going to hang out for like 5 hours, okay?
Okay. I'm thank you.